It's just two buffoons sharing our opinions on our select group of the wide range of releases at Watches and Wonders 2023.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready?
Welcome back to Ticking Gray Bomb, Refined Taste for Idiots. Who want to welcome the thousands upon thousands of viewers. This is our second video on Watches of Wonders in 2023. I am Mace.
And I'm Mex. What up?
So we wanted to highlight a couple of watches, and we're just going to get off to the races. I want to talk about IWC, their Ingenieur 40. I was kind of looking forward to this release. Obviously I didn't know it was going to come out this year. There have been rumblings. And then when I got here, I was kind of disappointed. It was like, not a lot happening there. And I know some people are really liking their dials, kind of the parquet floor. But I guess I was hoping for a little bit more. And no, I know it goes back to a Gerald Genta design 70s, but man, at $12,000, man, that is a lot of dough for what kind of looks like a pedestrian watch at this point. And I hate to say it, but I don't know. You have any kind of reactions to the Ingenieur?
So I know exactly what you're saying, Mace. I mean, I feel you on this one. For the longest time, I felt like Ingenieur doesn't have a place in IWC's portfolio, right? I mean, clearly one could say, oh, dude, it definitely has a place, right? It's a dive watch in a collection that's devoid of dive watches. But just like we said in the Rolex context, not all brands need to have offerings in different categories, right? In every category. I just don't feel this brand. Yes, okay, it's Genta designed and it's right, and this is supposed to go kind of straight line back to that original Genta DNA. I know that Alexander from Watch Advisor, who I respect a lot as a content creator, was very excited. He loves IWC Schaffhausen. And he was very excited about this release. And I know it took IWC a long time to really perfect this. But I don't feel Ingenieur at all today. And I wouldn't be sad if they killed this part of the brand.
Not going to dwell there. I liked the Tag Carrera. So I did end up wearing my tag. It's the Link chronograph from about 2005, 2006 on the Adapt NATO from the Warner Mom folks. One up, also a gift from Mr. Max here. And I thought the Carrera looked really great. It has the two models that I really liked were just variations of each other. One was a really sharp blue dial, and it kind of comes up. I was kind of describing this as almost like a skate ramp. While I did skateboard in my very, very early years, I did no ramp work, but it kind of comes up like this and kind of comes up around the sides. And then that's where kind of your indices are. And the indices are kind of curved up. And then it kind of comes over like a hill, kind of. So there's a slope up to the hill and kind of comes down. And then the glass, the sapphire, kind of covers everything. And they're calling it the glass box. And the tachometer is on the hill. So it's printed, and the hill of the dial is also blue. The other variation is kind of black with 3 white silver subdials, just giving it a slightly different look. But I thought it was a really handsome watch. I think Tag did a really great job in kind of reimagining the Carrera and kind of looking back to the Carreras of kind of the 70s and kind of bringing it forward and kind of merging it with their more modern aesthetic. I was really impressed by it. And I guess the big question mark is, it's $6,500. man, it's, that's, with the Tag brand has taken such a hit over the last, what, 10, 15 years. Um, it's the values on these watches have come down so much. I mean, whatever I had mentioned previous videos, my brother had purchased this for me in 17 years ago now, and I think it's worth less than half of what he paid for it. And so that kind of sticks with me when I kind of think about, kind of buying a Tag new. So Max, did you want to highlight one of your picks?
Yeah, so a couple of things caught my attention, right? And I think we'd be remiss because obviously there are a lot of Patek fanboys out there, and I think Patek did some interesting things. Patek definitely is part of the category that we've seen before. We're just, hey, look, we just changed the dial color, or we just changed a metal of the case. But the 6007 G, the Calatrava that they introduced, right? I think it's interesting, right? When you have such a storied brand, any change can be controversial, right? And I saw one comment online that said it looks like Patek designed a swatch. I really enjoyed it. It still looks like a classy watch, but it's a step into modernity, right? It's a step into the 21st century for Patek that typically only their sports watches really kind of showed some daring styling, right? So I give Patek a lot of credit for this. I don't know where it's going to go. I mean, clearly it's trying to appeal to a younger demographic than a traditional Patek, certainly dress watch, right? A Calatrava buyer would be today. So again, I give Patek a lot of credit for that. So the other one I wanted to talk about was, and again, this is not one of the big brands, but it just happened to catch my eye. And Mace, you and I have talked about these kind of model of watches before. It's Montblanc, right? And it's their Geosphere Zero Oxygen, right? Because I think they're looking at I can't remember the names, but they basically did two limited editions to honor these two great mountaineers. One was Reinhard something or other who summited the 14
Mesner.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Right. In 1981 or something like this.
Yep.
He was the first person to summit the 14 peaks without actually, I think, without supplemental oxygen. And then they made another model to commemorate the Sherpa, who they made 14 Peak, the Netflix special, who summited 14 peaks, I think, in 6 months and 6 days, right? Both very remarkable accomplishments.
That's a great documentary.
It is.
Yeah. I think it's called 14 Peaks, if I'm not
Yes,
mistaken.
I think it is. I agree. It's great. So it's interesting. So you have this, they have two models. I like the model, the zero oxygen model, right? So when they basically said, hey, look, we've replaced, so it's zero oxygen, right? We've replaced the oxygen that's in the case with nitrogen. Again, titanium case. I felt this a lot. I felt there was a lot of titanium in this year's releases. They like to play up the hypoallergenic properties of titanium. It's not a small watch, but it's not giant. It's a 42 mil, and it's this geosphere. So you have these two spheres, these two hemispheres sitting on at the 12 and the 6. From an aesthetic design standpoint, I find interesting and I find compelling. Okay, in-house movement. So again, it's an interesting watch. But Mace, you talk about $6,200 for a Carrera. I mean, is $7,400? I mean, is this watch interesting enough, compelling enough for $7,400?
I don't know. That'd be a hard sell. They're billing this as a limited edition, but
This one,
from a watchmaker that isn't the most popular in the business, right?
Correct. Right. That doesn't have a real, and so that I'd be concerned. So I don't, as you can imagine, there aren't a lot of these on the secondary market, but I think that's where you have to buy this watch.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a Richemont brand, obviously known more for its pens, right? It's writing utensils, right, if you will. But that was the one for me that I found to be the most interesting, right? The anthracite dial, the hemispheres that you could kind of have a world time and some other things, the history. So they're engravings on the back of the watch, right? Kind of documenting the whole 14 peak deal. You know, the titanium metal, the nitrogen in the case. I think these are all interesting characteristics. You know, again, am I going to rush out to buy this watch brand new? No, I'm not. But I'll keep an eye on this. This is something I might add to the collection if I could find it on the secondary market at the right price.
All right, so for me, the last one I wanted to mention was the Oris, the Altimeter. Look, I really do love my tool watches. When it comes to Oris, I think there are a couple of watches that are kind of interesting. They have kind of the bronze big crown. I think I had mentioned once before that getting a bronze watch is kind of interesting to me, kind of putting a patina on it. I don't think it's that high on my list of priorities. I like the Oris New York Harbor. I think that color green is really interesting.
Yep.
And when I saw this, the altimeter, this is I think only mechanical altimeter out there. So I think that is really interesting. And it is at $4,000. I think I had it in my head that it was over $6,000, but it's a really interesting looking watch. And I don't know, it just kind of hit me that it was really interesting.
How big is it? Is it 44 or 47 mil? It's a big watch, Mace.
Yeah.
Right. Pilots' watches tend to be very big. I agree with you. I like the.
Oh yeah. So it is.
Yeah, it's 47 mil.
47 to 51. I guess you can select.
51 is a real pilot's watch. I mean, that's a real deal, right?
Yeah. I mean, okay. So that is definitely a deal breaker.
That's not the right deal for me.
That's not going to happen.
But these are nice watches, and hell no, I would not put this on a friggin' bracelet.
In any event, that was interesting, but size considerations would cause me not to be a buyer in this instance.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's a really good looking watch. I like those, instinctively I tend to gravitate to watches with that type of design. It's really well done, really nice price point, right? But at 47, you're like, okay, I get it. It's a pilot's watch. As a tool watch, it suits the purpose, but for people who don't fly. So yeah, Mace, the other one that I think it's worth highlighting because we talked about it earlier, is the Zenith pilot releases, right? So I look at in particular, the big date flyback. So we talk about the heritage of Zenith being that El Primero chrono movement. So I get what they're trying to do, that they're trying to leverage the chrono, but I look between the big date in steel for 11.5, for PVD and 13.5. Who in their right mind would buy these watches? It's a lot of cake for a watch that doesn't really feel like it's got a selling point. I think between IWC and Zinn, for a more, let's say, a more robust pilot's watch, you can't go wrong. I don't understand where, again, just like we talked about with Rolex and the 1908, just like we talked about IWC with the Ingenieur. You know what, Zenith? You are just fine without a pilot's offering, because I can't see you selling a whole lot at these price points, right? 11.5, 13.5. Good luck, buddy.
That's Zenith, and I think they've got to figure out what to do next, I think.
I'm glad. Look, it's a brand with a lot of heritage, right? I'm glad they're still here. I'm glad they're still producing watches, particularly chronographs. But yeah, just please find a real direction that can connect you with a defined part of the watch enthusiast demographic. So with that, we can wrap up. I hope you enjoyed that. Again, it's just two buffoons sharing our opinions on our select group of the wide range of releases at Watches and Wonders 2023. Please leave us your feedback, right? Likes, dislikes, whether you agreed or disagreed with some of the things we highlighted. Add something that you like that we might have missed. Maybe we could talk about that in our next episode. So thanks so much. We'll catch you next one. Bye-bye.